One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Can y'all believe the size of that crowd? This, as far as I know, and I'm sure pretty as much as you know, Colorado is supposed to be a deep blue state. Seriously in the column already for the Democrats. It should not be any debate. It's not a battleground state as they call them. It is a solidly blue state. It's been that way for quite some time. So then someone needs to explain to me what we all just saw. That wasn't a bunch of loops over and over. There may have been one or two duplicates, but for the most part, that was showing specifically what's been going on in Aurora, Colorado since last night. People have been lined up to see Trump. I couldn't believe it. I started seeing these videos pop up on X, and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that there are this many people in Colorado lined up to see Trump. So when he booked this entire event, I thought to myself, why is he wasting time going to Aurora? Why is he going to Colorado? Makes you scratch your head. And then somehow they must have found out there's some data or something that this guy was wanted. They wanted him to come out there. Will he win the state? I still doubt he'll win the state. I don't know how many people out there would decide to vote for him. But it looks like there's a whole lot of people out there who either want to vote for him or are thinking about voting for him. Enough that might basically flip some local races. Might turn some things around all the way down ballot. Who knows? That's where it starts. But what's really interesting is what the people have had to say. And there's going to be some interviews I want to show you here. Trump's due to go on stage at 3 p.m., so we've got some time to talk about this. But the people themselves are beginning to talk, and they're going against the narrative in the mainstream media where every single one of these stupid stations, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, all of them, they keep talking about saying, hey, you know, stuff's not really happening the way you guys are telling it. It's misinformation. Well, I guess they forgot to tell the people of Aurora what exactly is misinformation, what's not. So they're going to tell you what's really going on the ground in their own state.
And what's going on in Aurora, I'm a native of Colorado. It's happening, it's real, it's here. And our governor says it's not real, it's real. It's not in our imagination, it's happening.
What is it that you're saying that's real?
The gangs, all that kind of stuff, it's everywhere. It's in Aurora, it's throughout the suburbs. They're spreading.
Isn't that the scary part? I've
insane. My son's a landscaper. I mean, he's had stuff stolen. They're stealing. The crime is outrageous.
You have to wonder why the media is telling us it's all misinformation. It's not happening. When the people who live in these cities, the people in Springfield, Ohio, and that other city in Alabama, which I can't even pronounce, all over the country, we're hearing from actual residents, hey, this is what's happening. And then when you turn on the media, they're like, everything is fine, everything is well, don't worry about it. Yet these people are suffering. The same thing that's going on with North Carolina. North Carolina, hey, it's misinformation what you're hearing about the reports about, lots of people dying and that the government was slow to respond. Yet the people on the ground tell you a different story. And as I've said many a times, Robin has relatives up in that area. We know specifically what's been happening. We've talked to the people at Samaritan's Purse. We know exactly what's going on the ground, and they're spinning a completely different narrative, and I think that's why the people have had it.
You call the police, they don't come. It'll take 2 hours. Like, they don't come.
It's not just Aurora. We're from Colorado Springs, and we've been there for about 15 years. And our morning commute to school would be, normal morning commute. We wouldn't see any homeless people. Now we literally see people shooting up at the signal lights, half a mile.
While you're bringing your kids to school.
It's horrific.
It's horrific, but I'm sorry, ma'am. You don't understand. You're a racist. You're xenophobic, homeless phobic, whatever they want to say. It's all something to do with a phobic. And they put that on people and say, shut up, bend over, and take it. This is the new America. This is how it's going to be. You have no say in this. Except this one guy, Trump, is telling everybody, yeah, we need to fix this.
Terrific. So it's not just here.
People camp on our playground, like homeless camp on our playground.
Yeah.
The kid couldn't even contain himself. Mom's talking and the kid's like, these idiots are on our playground. I can't even play. They're doing all this stuff. They're taking over our playgrounds. I used to be able to go skateboarding and play soccer or football or whatever, and I can't now because all these people are laying around the field.
Yep, there's cigarette butts, there's needles that they found in the school playground, and this is right next to a community park. Their school borders a community park or a city park, and it's daily now.
We picked him up from school the other day to go to the dentist, and there was like 6 homeless men on the corner in a tent, right, literally catty corner to his middle school.
It's basically turning into California. If you haven't been to California lately, don't go. Because it's just lined up with like a tent city where these people have decided their home now is on the side of the road. And Governor Newsom has let them all stay there. They're doing nothing to clean it up, except if they get a dignitary and they don't want people to see it, then they'll move them out, then they'll all come right back. Can you imagine living in under those types of conditions? Can you imagine your kids can't walk to school, they can't ride their bikes, they can't go play in a field, and then having your government tell you that's too friggin' bad. You're xenophobic, exophobic, all the other thing phobic. You're the problem, not these people who are laying around and doing nothing and doing needles and all blah, 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 and God knows what else. You're the problem. Listen, Whitey, deal with it.
When I'm going on my bus, on my bus ride home and to school, it's in ghetto areas, and I see drugged up people or people who are too poor to care for themselves. They look pretty homeless. And
let me ask you, those of you who are mothers, I'm going to appeal to the moms out there. Is this something your kids should have to deal with? I mean, with everything else in the world, with you working a job, your husband working a job, and the whole idea of latchkey kids and everything, is this what your kids should have to deal with if you live in Aurora? No, never mind. Anywhere. Should you have to wonder, you know what, I know he's got to ride his bike past this area, and is he going to be okay getting through there? Or worse, is my daughter going to be able to walk through there? Yet the government, the Democrats in Colorado, are telling you it's your problem if you complain about this.
They're not able to take care of themselves. It's horrible. Yeah, if we go.
That is terrifying that you guys are, especially like parents, having to bring your children to school, like on the playground. Like, that's not safe.
It makes me angry. Like, I get angry because it's not fair. And I
don't know the tax situation in Colorado, but if I was paying property taxes and I'm contributing to my local government, local, state, municipal, whatever, this isn't what I'm contributing to. My tax dollars, my hard-earned tax dollars, should not be going to you just basically taking over parts of our community with these so-called newcomers and homeless people.
Know that the majority of the people in my community are not on board with it. So I just don't understand why it's being...
And you have to think when people talk. You have to listen to what they say. And she goes, I believe the majority of the people in my community are not okay with this. Why isn't it unanimous? Who is okay with that? If you're in a community where there are even a good portion of people who are, yeah, it's okay, bring in the newcomers, let them sleep in the field, let them sleep in the gym, move. If you can't move, find a way to move. There is no way you should have to put up with both the newcomers and the druggies and everything else and stupid neighbors. I understand some people are fixed. You're stuck. You decided to build a life in a certain neighborhood because you're like, wow, this is great. Tree-lined streets, everything looks fine. We're going to have a nice life here. Until one day the person who you probably voted for or your friends voted for decided, hey, listen, we're going to just change everything. You've had it too good. You've worked. You've attained a certain status in your life. But you know what? We need to help these other people. And in order to help these other people, we're going to basically do it to the detriment of your lifestyle. And shut up and take it. And if you say anything, we're going to let everybody know that you're a racist, homophobe, xenophobe, all the other phobes. including up to your presidential government. You need to take it. And I think, as I've said many times on this show, people have gotten to a point, as you can see in Aurora, Colorado, I'm mad as hell, and I ain't taking it anymore.
Accepted across the board. It just, it's not logical to me. What I'm actually seeing happening in life and in front of us, it's not what the media is portraying, you know?
That's your problem. If you're looking to the media to give you the news, as I've been telling you guys for a long time, you're looking at propaganda. You're looking at Pravda. They are only going to tell you what they are told to show people. So maybe at this point, people need to start turning off that dial, clicking the button on the remote, delete the app from your phone, and start going to X and other places and talk to people you can actually trust. I have an idea. How about the neighbors actually just talk to each other?
Our governor literally said that what's happening in Aurora was imaginary. That, like, he used those words. It was imaginary. It's not. Drive by with Spring Pines. It's overrun. They just cleaned up the trash like a week and a half ago.
That's got to be so disheartening to like have your government officials and media just tell you what you're.
Maybe you guys should get together. Since you said you were in the majority, maybe you should get together, round up, take care of business yourself. I'm not saying do any violence or anything like that, but go into the neighborhood. When they're not there, tear that shit down and toss it. There's no way they can say you stole my property. No, it's on the street. It's in the kids' park. You don't have a right to be there. You don't pay taxes here. I would dare the local law enforcement to arrest me for cleaning out a homeless encampment.
You're saying, don't believe your eyes, it's not there. I heard that there was like certain areas, like I heard there's like some apartment complexes that are being overrun and stuff. It's in Aurora, and that like certain officers won't even show up unless there's like a minimum 4 or something like that.
We hear too. We hear all that kind of stuff, and I mean they try to play it down, but when you have 5 or 6 people go into an apartment with guns, that's a gang. 2 people, that's just crime. That's a gang going in there, and they're all over.
Yeah, that's worrisome. You know, I saw there was a woman who moved out of a complex, and then like people went in immediately after into her spot. And I heard that the guy that helped her out, and this because I was doing some research on this, he said he lives 7 miles away from this area where all this crime is happening, and he has kids, and he's like, this is terrifying. I can't imagine living that close to an area where there's just like crime to that level, and you don't know these people aren't documented. You don't know.
You know what's really funny. I see a comment like this. And people are making fun of the situation. Oh no, cigarette butts. Because they don't care how your lifestyle is affected. If you've lived a certain way in a certain community for years, and you like the way you live, you've got people like this person here saying, oh no, cigarette butts. Now, I'm not saying he may be being sarcastic, but unfortunately, there are people in some of these neighborhoods who are, you know, the blue-haired type that really don't care that your life is being affected. Not one bit. They could care less how Americans feel.
Illegals come over our border. It affects the poorest of us because the people that do have money are gated in. They can afford to have these people not bother them. But when you're just trying to get by and you don't have a lot of money, you go into these apartments, and then they get run over because they see they're in the same boat, kind of. So then that's when the crime starts happening because they have no way to defend themselves. So it hurts the poorest among us. So it's pretty sad.
I don't know if you've lived here your whole life or not, but Colorado used to be less expensive. It was actually a really good place to live. Obviously, it's beautiful, but they said in the cost of living and all this stuff was way lower. And my brother currently lives here now, and he's like, it's so expensive to live here. And I've only been here a couple of times, but how did that?
To me, that's like a kick in the teeth. On top of everything else, having to deal with these newcomers, having to deal with homeless people, having to deal with all of that, now we're going to make everything more expensive. So the lifestyle that you're used to living has been affected so bad that you can't even take it anymore, and your government saying on top of all that, here, pay higher gas prices, pay more for your food, make your rent higher, Make your mortgage higher. Why? Because you got it. You're prosperous. We need to bring you down. You know, you've heard that from Kamala. We all don't start at the same place, so we all can't really end at the place. So you know, it's got to be equitable. Screw your equitable. You work too hard to give it away. And somehow they've indoctrinated so many people into thinking, yeah, that's what we should do in America. We should all just, you know, give our money away to these newcomers because they don't have anything.
Fact, and how has that changed, like really like kind of ruined things?
It's just, it's hard to do things. The crime, it's getting out of hand, really out of hand. And we just like to be able to live a good life, and we're not able to do that.
That's a shame. All I want, just the same thing with the people in North Carolina, all I want is to be able to live a good life. I moved here. I bought a home. I rented a home. I'm raising a family. All I want to do is just live a good life. Can you people just leave us alone? That's all we're asking. He's not asking for someone to donate and give him $1 million. He's not asking for a whole lot. I just want to live my life, man. Why did you decide to intentionally infringe upon the way I live? Whereas, you know, some of you don't have to worry about it because you guys live in a gated community. Full disclosure. Full, I don't want anyone to call me a hypocrite. I live in a gated community, a guard-gated community. But that was my choice because I didn't want to deal with this stuff. I didn't want my wife to lay her head at night and wonder if somebody was going to be climbing through the window. I chose to move into a gated community. So it's not that the people in the gated communities are the problem. It's that you're infringing on all the other people who aren't available or have the ability to live in a gated community.
I mean, you can't buy gas, you can't buy groceries without going in the hole. You know, we need to change.
These gangs apparently are.
Now guess who this is? After months of saying what you're seeing isn't true. It's all a pipe dream. It's something that the people on the right have made up. This is none other on, let's see, what's today? October 11th. This is the mayor of Aurora confirming finally, yeah, it's real. It's definitely real, and I can't do anything about it.
Or attracted to where there's a concentration of Venezuelan migrants, and so they've in fact have kind of pushed out the property management through intimidation, and then collected the rents. And arrests have been made, but these operations are still ongoing.
Think about what he just said. He's the mayor, so as the mayor of a city, it is your prime responsibility. Same thing for a governor, same thing for a president. Your number one responsibility is the protection of the people who look to you as the leader of the area. And the mayor of Aurora said that these gangs have come in and pushed out the property managers, and they're basically gravitating to places where there's other Venezuelans. You guys find anything wrong with that statement? They pushed out the property managers? I do. Having been in real estate, I understand what property managers do. How did they push out the property managers? Because once you answer that question, and every single one of you knows this, in order to, quote, push out the property managers, they have committed a crime. Hey, knock, 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 you, get out of your office. If you don't get out of this office, we're going to, do something to you and your family. So leave, and we are now the managers. So the manager leaves. He didn't hand over the keys willingly. The Tres Leches gang didn't come up to his door and said, hey, we're taking over now. Oh, here you go. No, that didn't happen. He said it. He pushed them out. So why didn't you push back? Who told you to let it happen? Who told you it was okay to let these people, quote, push out the property managers? i.e., property managers. Meaning, who owns the facility? Who owns this apartment complex? Are they okay with their managers, their employees, their contracted vendors being pushed out? Why would they be pushed out? the first call I would make would be to the local sheriff and say, and I would say, hey, listen, do something about this. Do something. Go down here and arrest these people and throw them out on their asses. But no, you did nothing. You let it happen. And now you've confirmed that you let it happen. That's weakness. That's Tim Walz kind of man. I'm tired of seeing these articles that keep showing up. New York Times just wrote another one where they're saying, positive masculinity is something to be, laughed at. Men are not supposed to be men anymore. Men are supposed to just sit by and take it. They don't want masculine men, and you know why now. See, I don't know anything about this township. I don't know anything. I don't know about the demographics, but I'm pretty sure in your area, in my area, I don't care who shows up thinking they're going to take over my property, they're going to have a fight. That ain't going to happen. And you've seen how Ron DeSantis handles his business. And you've seen how Grady Judd on the other side of the state, how he handles his business. It ain't going to happen down here. There is going to be pushback. Someone may be leaving in cuffs or in a body bag, but in either way, there's no acquiescence. The masculinity of that they're trying to stop and what they're trying to basically impute on people is to be soy boys. Oh, I can't fight back. No, I can't do that. My nipples hurt or something. Are you kidding me? You're telling me the men in that area didn't put together a posse and said, hey, we need to do something. If these guys aren't going to do something, maybe we should do something. I don't advocate violence. But what I'd like to know is if I have a group of men around me in my neighborhood here, if violence came to us, that we would offer a very prudent response. And that response isn't to fold like a cheap suit and let it happen. See, I'm out there looking for a fight, but if you bring the fight, you're going to get one. And it sounds to me like the mayor and other people in Colorado, the police have acquiesced and said, we're not even getting involved. You're on your own. So why the hell you charge me property taxes? Why in the hell do I go to work and pay taxes to this city and have a 911? What's 911 for? I'm not here to talk to you. I don't need a counselor. I'm not here to have a conversation with the 911 operator. I expect if I dial those 3 digits that you're coming to help. 911. Yeah, there's guys with guns here looking to take over my apartment complex. I expect you here in a couple minutes. Every single one of you watching this right now, you expect the same thing. When you dial those 3 digits on your phone, you specifically expect there to be a response. And these people you just heard said they don't even respond. They don't even show up. To me, if I was a lawyer, that would be kind of cause for putting a lawsuit against the town. Your promise to me is I pay you taxes and I get this service. I get my garbage picked up, I get my water clean coming through the pipes, and most of all, I'm protected in case something happens. And they're not getting that. That's why Trump's in Aurora. I'm sure Trump's going to give a speech today that's going to freak some people out. They're putting somebody up on stage. Let me see who this is. I may grab them over. Looks like it might be Stephen Miller again. Let's take Stephen Miller.
5 days, Colorado can shock the world and send Donald J. Trump back to the White House. This state is going Republican. This state is going for Donald Trump. And the patriots in this room are going to be the ones who elect President Trump to end the invasion, to end the occupation, and to send the illegals back home. Look at all these photos around me. Are these the kids you grew up with? Are these the neighbors you were raised with? Are these the neighbors that you want in your city? No. These are the criminal migrants that Kamala Harris brought into your community. And as swiftly as they came, Donald Trump will send them back. The media wants you to feel ashamed. They want you to believe you can't complain about what's happening to your town. They want you to shut up. They want you to be quiet. They want you to be silent. We are not gonna shut up. Because we love our country too much. We love our family too much. We love our kids too much to let them grow up in a community and in a country that is run by organized criminal cartels. Not on our watch. Not going to happen. They want you to think that you have to justify why you want to send the migrants out. No, 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 no. They have to justify why the hell they're bringing the migrants in. And they cannot justify it for this very simple reason. We don't need, in this country, homeless migrants, criminal migrants. We don't need migrants consuming and depleting our public resources, overwhelming our public schools, overwhelming our hospitals, taking over our apartment buildings, and yes, murdering innocent Americans. You have a right to love the community you grew up in. You have a right to love your neighbors as they are. You have a right to want a country that is of, by, and for Americans and only Americans. So I will end today with this simple plea and this simple promise. If you do the work, Colorado, if you register, if you organize, if you mobilize, if you get your friends, family, co-workers, colleagues, everyone you know, people near, people far, if you do the work for the next 25 days, Colorado will send Donald J. Trump back to the White House. The criminal migrants will go home, and America will be reclaimed for Americans. God bless you. God bless Aurora. God bless Colorado, and God bless the United States. Thank you.
Well, that was kind of forceful. Stephen A. doesn't take no crap. I mean, Stephen A. Oh my God, did I say Stephen A.? Stephen Miller doesn't take any crap. They fear him. They don't like him. They've called him every name in the book. They don't want that guy back in the White House. He's coming. He's coming a part of the Trump team. He's been with Trump. They didn't like him back in before, and they definitely don't want to see him as part of the Avenger team getting in there. And he's coming. He's absolutely coming. I'm looking at some of your comments, and it's amazing to me. Colorado, please vote red. I just couldn't even imagine if Colorado would be able to turn red. We got vets sleeping on the street. What a shame. I don't even understand how we have to have a veterans plan for mortgages. You should have an ID. And that ID, your time that you served. And you should be able to walk into and listen, I'm going to buy this house and put down the ID, and then any mortgage company should be able to write you a mortgage for that house. If you serve a certain, I don't care if you just serve as a cook, you should be able to get a mortgage. I don't doubt that Trump is really going to incentivize people to join the military and get rid of this transformer nut job stuff that they have in the military right now. Guys that really want to be masculine, that want to fight and fight for this country, that aren't going to lay down because, they've got some agenda. I don't even really understand the agenda, except for the fact of wanting to destroy America. But as if it's not going to come to your neighborhood. It doesn't make any sense. These guys aren't going to stay put in little Susie's playground. If they're hungry or they're desirous of things, whether that be food, money, or your wife, you're not keeping them in one area. And so you're putting yourself in danger. The peril that could be knocking on your bedroom window one night. And so I just don't understand how these people have pledged allegiance to this Democrat machine that obviously wants to destroy America. I cannot even fathom, I can't get it through my mind that there are, 50 senators and 200 people in Congress who walk lockstep with the Democrats. They will do anything they are told to do. How did you get people that'll just completely vote against their own best interest, against their constituents' best interest, and just put anybody in there and just do whatever you're told? I can't imagine that many people are compromised. I can't imagine that many people have been bought off. I watched the debate the other day. 2 debates. I don't know if you guys have seen it. You can probably pick them up on YouTube. I watched the debate between Steve Harvey and Adam Schiff in California. And I'm thinking, what brain-dead numbskull would vote this pencil-neck geek Adam Schiff back into office? How insane would you have to be? Steve Garvey shredded him. I mean, just shredded him, ate him, spit him back out. And I'm like, I keep saying, oh, these races are close. Adam Schiff he's lied for the entire time he's been in Congress, in addition to being suspected of doing some really funny stuff. I don't know that, okay? I don't know, but I know he's been suspected of doing some shifty Schiff stuff. And I'm not even talking about the stuff he's done in Congress. I'm talking the stuff he's done back, I'll just say it's a Epsteinish. But we don't know that. We can't ever find out. We should. And then I watched the other debate between Carrie Lake and Ruben Gallego. And I'm like, what idiots vote for this crap? I know I saw some trolls in here, and again, they only troll. They never have discussions. They never talk. And I'm like, what are you voting for? It doesn't seem like it should be a competent discussion to say, Carrie Lake and this idiot, this corrupt Ruben Gallego, Adam Schiff, Steve Garvey. Doesn't make any sense. What has happened to the Democrat Party? Well, it's happened so much so that RFK Jr., I didn't leave, they left. They took a hard left turn, and I don't know what they are. Elon Musk, can you imagine? Elon Musk was a Democrat. What the hell did you do? He want nothing to do with you now. Tulsi Gabbard, she was a Democrat. Y'all crazy. And on and on and on. And then the people on the left will say, well, we got 200, as she said in her which was a train wreck, her Univision town hall. I've got 200 Republicans that, support me. Yeah, and if you looked in the background of those people who support you, I mean, seriously, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, all that group of people, you really proudly want to say that someone who got destroyed in their own state, Liz Cheney, you're happy she's flipped and become a Democrat or Democrat endorser? She didn't flip. She had no choice. She got the boot. Her party kicked their butt to the curb. Bigly. But in any event, there's still half of them. Colorado is still more red. That's why they flood with the newcomers and rig the votes. How sad is it? We know that. They fear the list. Unfortunately, they have money and willing people to turn their head. I think they're low on funds. Let the red wave take over. After what I saw last night, if you guys haven't seen the clips from the Univision thing, and I'll post some of those probably tomorrow, it's embarrassing at this point. The only thing Kamala Harris can do is lie and be given the answers. There's a cut going around, I'm sure many of you have seen it, where the cameraman is coming across and panning, and he goes, uh-oh, because what you can see on the screen is the teleprompter with the answer to the question. What that means is, if the teleprompter can show you the answer to the question, then somebody had to write the answer to the question, which means they had to know the question. We all know now that they are feeding her the questions and allowing some third party to type out the answers and then put it on a teleprompter. And I don't know at this point why she even needs a teleprompter. She says the same shit every single time. I'm from the middle class. I really am. That's who I am. And Project 2025, that's what Trump really wants to do. And he wants to ban baby removal across the nation. What? Why would you need a teleprompter? You're saying the same lie over and over. You're being, basically like the guys in Germany in 1939, 1940. You're saying the same stuff. Hopefully it'll catch on. But it's not catching on. So you can't be authentic. You got less than a month. And as James Carville said, it's a lot less than that. When you take off weekends and holidays and football and everything else, and it shrinks really quick. Your numbers are tanking. It's getting to the point where the pollsters can't prop you up anymore. They're trying, but people are laughing at them. And now you've got this in Aurora, Colorado. Good luck. Good luck. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. Keep saying bloodbath, bloodbath. Oh, and the other one is dictator on day one. Yeah. What does your IQ have to be to continue to believe those lies? People, and then her other lie is Trump wants to do nothing to help people. It's all about himself. Where'd my little notepad go? But I had a notepad up here yesterday, and I could probably recite them off the top of my head, and I'm sure you could. No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. No tax on Social Security. Get a deduction on a car loan. And drill. Get the oil cheaper. Those aren't for him. He doesn't need it. That is for the American people. But you listen to her, and she's like, oh, he only talks about himself. And then they dusted off the mothballs on Obama and had him come out there and recite the same lines. He came out and said Trump only talks about himself. And I think to myself, dude, they never watch it, or they know that the audience that's watching them never watches it, so they can lie to them. But this is where the problem is. And this is where the rubber meets the road at this point. Whoever's on the left and whoever's on the right, those audiences are deadheads. They're following you around. They're going to vote for you. You're not changing their mind. There's nothing anyone could say that would change my mind in regards to voting for Donald Trump. It's baked in. Ain't going to happen. Same thing for Kamala. There's a certain amount of people who are baked in. They don't care what you say. They're going to vote for Kamala Harris. So in this last 30-day period, the people you need to be talking to are people in Colorado, are people in those areas where they don't want to hear from you. They've been told you're basically Magilla gorilla, and you're walking into this blue belly of the beast like New York where he's heading and saying, I'm here. I'm here. So when's Kamala heading to Fort Lauderdale or Boca? When is she going to Oklahoma, Nebraska? When is she going to step foot in Alabama? Not going to happen. And so you lose the ability to talk to those people who are truly the undecided ones that may flip this or flip that. Trump doesn't need to be in Aurora, Colorado today. I doubt he's going to turn this state. But people who see him in Aurora, Colorado today, even if you don't live in Colorado, are going to see a man who's not afraid to get out there and go to Colorado. There's a lot of men in other areas of the country who are like, man, that's badass. Are you seriously going into Colorado? You're going to go into deep blue Colorado and hold a rally and pack the joint? Yep, going to do it. Well, if you're an independent, it kind of means something. Wait till he goes to New York City. Wait till he goes to Madison Square Garden. God, I hope that his marketing people decide to just take over Times Square. It would be absolutely awesome. I don't want to see her in Nebraska anyway. That's a whole different thing. You're correct. Nobody wants her out there. I can't believe anybody listening to her is going to have their mind changed at this point. You'd have to be an idiot, or your hate for Donald Trump is way above everything that means everything to you and your family. I don't know any person in my life that I could speak to and say, hey, you okay with having your taxes raised 30, 40%? You all right with that? No, it doesn't happen. So you have to imagine that the people that she's talking to are either financially illiterate or just hate Trump that much. It's insane, the level of craziness. She never even went to Hawaii. Nope, takes that for granted. She has only been to the swing states in California. Yeah, stop the commie takeover. They don't. She shows people that she doesn't care about them. Doesn't care about them at all. Coachella. He's going to Coachella. That's gonna be a huge thing. Even if they don't like Trump in California, there's gonna be people out there, or people watching on TV or watching a stream. They're gonna say to themselves, "Man, this guy's got a set on him. He's really gonna go into California and do a rally? Seriously? I might need to reassess this. I want to vote for somebody who's got those kind of cojones." Don't sell that down the road, that there aren't some independents sitting back and going, I hear you. No fear. Nope, I got shot in the head. I'm coming out there. I don't know if you guys saw, by the way, one of the newest pieces of news that you may not have seen, because of course probably the mainstream media is not talking about it. Hopefully you're not listening to mainstream media. But Trump must have heard that the threats are amplifying. He has requested, and it sucks that you have to request it from Biden, he has requested jet escorts, F-16s, Navy pilots, whoever escorts the president. He's like, I need that kind of escort. I need to have that. And what is he seeing that's making that to be the problem? What he's seeing as a problem on the ground? Are they getting close to being able to take him out with a surface-to-air missile? Are they still playing games with his Secret Service coverage? Every time we do one of these things, he's due to go up on stage at a certain time. I don't think it's by accident that he changes the times and shows up. Like yesterday, he was supposed to be on stage at 2 and he walked out at 1:40. I don't think it's by any accident that he's changing things up every time he goes in public, so that, from a security perspective, it keeps people guessing. They may not be ready. He might catch people by surprise, though. All kinds of different things. And so now he's asked for military escort on his rallies, or en route to his rallies. Y'all have to watch Rocky Mountain West to learn how the progressive rich are flipping states. Yep, they're putting a lot of money, definitely putting a lot of money. I have 2 grandsons in Aurora. One is voting for the first time Trump. His brother is voting for the second time Trump. Very nice, very nice. Who said people in California don't like Trump? It's loyal to Newsom. Don't. Hollywood to Pitt. Don't buy the people. People need to speak up, because they're being told at this point that these certain states are untouchable. She's not going anywhere else. Her media blitz is over, and so is her campaign. She's doing a town hall on CNN now, but she's got no message. I mean, you could have shots lined up, and when she hits Project 2025, take a shot. When she says dictator in day one, take a shot. When she says that doesn't care about anybody but himself, take a shot and then go to bed because you're done. Because she'll put you to sleep real quick if you're taking shots every time you hit on one of her catchphrases. But people are done with that, man. They're absolutely done. Should I vote now or November 5th? If you're going to vote early, go do it. Why not? Absolutely, vote early. Make it too big to rig. I'm here at the rally, not far from the stage. Great, man. Awesome. Look at here. I want to show you something. Look at this crowd. Look at that crowd. Wow. They're all jammed in there. That's a lot of people. I'm sure that's what he's going to say. That's a lot of people. And then he's going to tell you there are probably tens of thousands of people still outside that couldn't get in. And they got a barricade up so they can't get. And that's amazing. 6,000? 7,000 maybe inside this venue? That's incredible. Look at all those doggone people. And he's in a blue state. man, unreal. 81 billion worth of our military weapons left behind in Afghanistan, where Biden ordered his retreat. Surface-to-air weapons were left there too. Yep, Trump is right to ask for better protection. I can't believe he has to ask them. They should be saying, yes, we understand the importance right here. You could very well be the next president. We want to make sure you are protected. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful picture. A sea of red. God bless them all. Yep. In Aurora, Colorado. It's amazing. Word is to vote in person so they don't tamper with your mail-in vote. Yeah, depending on what state you're in and where you are. Absolutely. Is that the Views audience? Nope, that's not the Views. This guy's probably being a smartass because he's never seen that kind of people at a Kamala Harris rally. Trump should have a MAGA rally in D.C. right there on the mall. Yep, they are standing and they're waiting patiently for him to show up. Don't watch mainstream news. They are liars. We the people have had it. Yeah, they should. I did my show yesterday about Elon Musk. You guys should check it out if you want to see what's really going on behind the scenes with the media. They're flailing as bad as she is. They're being propped up by this Democrat machine, and their viewership is plummeting. I mean, absolutely plummeting at this point. I don't even know who watches Joy Reid. It's incredible. Watch them basically self-immolate at this point. They're doing anything they possibly can to get her elected, and it's costing them. It's costing them dearly. People just don't want to hear it. Philly True says, I'm going to Coachella as Dark MAGA. Love that. Colorado, RFK Jr. still on the ballot. Do not waste your time. Vote on RFK. Vote Trump. Yeah, they wouldn't even... All the different tricks that they're doing at this point, to make sure that he can try to take votes away from him. Crazy. I bet there's a huge silent majority of votes. I would believe that. I would definitely believe that. Barry, the traditional Democratic Party has been, what's that say? Consumed by ultra-liberal PC loonies, which began on college campuses back in the 1960s. The goal is to destroy the USA. And if people don't recognize that, then they're in trouble. I mean, think about it right now. The people in Aurora, as you heard from a couple of the actual residents, not from the media, and these residents are fed up because they've been sold out. They've been put in peril. They're not able to live the life that they wanted to live. How many people should look at that? And that's why they don't put it on the news. How many people should be looking at that and going, that could happen here, couldn't it? Yeah, it could. Not here, where I am. But I'm from Connecticut. Damn well, it could happen there. It could happen very easily. All it takes is a couple liberal mayors and liberal Congress people, and boom, you got newcomer town in America. It's that easy. I would love for you to do a show on the mainstream media ratings. I could do that. I'm just wondering, I'll do that inside the Twitter membership. I don't know if there's enough people who care about mainstream media ratings because they're meaningless. You understand that the only reason CNN even has a network is because they cut some unbelievable deal. I don't know what Ted Turner did, but by being in every single airport in the country all day long, they use all those numbers to support their viewership. It's insane. I mean, people are, looking at their devices, walking around, talking to their girlfriends, their spouse, their travel partners, eating, drinking, shopping, doing all kinds of things, but yet CNN includes those numbers in their viewership. Why? Just because the TV is on? And you're assuming, because there might be 1,000 people in the terminal, they're all watching CNN? No, you're force-feeding CNN. Big difference. Big difference. Where was that one? I just saw something. They sold out the country. Somebody asked me something about Elon. I got to see if I can find that. Waiting for the next speaker to come up. Not sure who's... Okay, here, I found this one. Barry, do you think Trump has it ready for them to steal it again, that he has placed safeguards to detect it in real time? I've seen some of the work that Laura Trump has been doing. I've been following some of the work that Scott Pressler has been doing in terms of registrations. And one of the problems that they can't do now, because many states have been basically purging their voter rolls. If there's only 1,000 people available to vote, and I mean registered, 1,000 people registered, you can't show up 2,000. And that's what happened a lot in 2020, and nobody said anything about it. Like, wait a minute, there's only 1,000 people registered in this town. How did we get 4,000 people voting? Oh, don't ask those kind of questions. You're one of those conspiracy theorists. That ain't gonna happen this time. And they're trying, because I read, I forget what blue area, it might have been Michigan, where they weren't hiring. No, it was Georgia. It was Fulton County. They weren't hiring the same amount of poll watchers that they're supposed to put out there. It was like overwhelmingly 60 or 70% Democrat, and they had to go to court. They are trying at every turn to do the old tricks. It's up to Americans to make sure those old tricks don't happen. Mom says, what's that? Mom says, is Barry on yet? Barry's on. Barry's on. Only true information is on X. And they hate that, man. They absolutely hate it. I thank those of you who have jumped over on X and have been, following me, and have new followers have jumped and everything, and I'm seeing so much content, and I'm getting a lot of messages. I mean, a lot of them. Every time I click on my app, there's more messages. And people keep saying, I never knew this. I've never seen this stuff. Remember, a television station only has a finite amount of time to put something out there. And they also repeat the programs over and over in terms of what they consider news, especially with what's going on in North Carolina, deservedly so. It was hurricane, 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 and the hurricane didn't really change that much. When they would say the next update is at 2 p.m., well, then why the hell are you showing it 24/7? Get back on at 1:45 and tell us what's going on. So I'm looking to see if Trump's coming up. Nothing. Stage is still empty. I thought they might have put up another speaker, but not yet. So anyway, yeah, it goes over and over. So how much time is available for a newscast? You got, just to use Fox as an example, you got Neil Cavuto, followed by the 5, then by Brett Baer, and then by Jesse, and then you're into the night program with Laura Ingraham and Gutfeld. So in that period of time, from basically 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock p.m., you've got 5 shows. You've got the 5, you've got Brett Baer, you've got Laura, then comes on Jesse. Then after Jesse comes Hannity, and then comes Greg Gutfeld. You got 6 hours. That's it. And in those 6 hours, only basically 40 to 45 minutes per hour is actually news. So you might as well just take off another hour. Now there's only 5 hours. And then each one of those shows is built into blocks. There's an A block, a B block, a C block, and sometimes a D block. And then you get stuff like the mail, and you get stuff like the guy on the street. And so that reduces it to where there's probably only the monologue that's actually news. The rest are guests. They're not designed to show you, hey, here's what's happening and so-and-so. No, it's like, oh, so today I'm talking to Joe Fred, and Joe Fred has this to say about what he says and blah, blah, blah. So the news, basically in the evening, on all of the channels, is non-existent. It's as though the world stops from a news perspective at 5 o'clock. All you're getting is opinion shows. You're getting basically magazine shows, things of that nature. But where's the news that happens when they start going into that program? It's on X, and people are talking about it. It was so funny. I know that Univision didn't want anyone streaming her town hall last night, which is ridiculous because within like 15 minutes of it ending, we all saw the clips anyway. Boom. They come out so fast that your news stations can't compile them and do actual news broadcast. They can't do it. But you're going to see it. I mean, you could literally go on there right now and see clip after clip after clip at what she did yesterday. Then the Obama thing broke. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I'll talk about that later, maybe tonight's show. Obama came out and basically did the same thing that Biden did and said, basically you ain't black if you don't vote for Kamala. He didn't say those words, but that's what he said. That's what the message was. You ain't black if you don't vote for Kamala. They just recycled it with a black guy. That's desperation. That's utter desperation at this point. It's futile desperation. Telling someone you ain't black if you don't vote for the black person who's not really black, who you don't like because she's full of it, but you ain't black if you don't vote for her. Like I said, don't give me some hard time in the comments. He didn't say those exact words. In fact, I think he said it's even worse. He almost said like you owe it to her. You owe it to her to vote for her if you're a person of color. I'm like, when did that become the merit in which we substantiate things? When did basically someone's melanin content decide that's their qualifications? I'm pretty sure in 1968 or maybe before then, Martin Luther King said, I want people to be judged on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Tonight when I do my video, I'm going to show you Martin Luther King saying that. And then I'm going to show you Obama saying, no, forget that Martin Luther King stuff. Y'all owe it to her. They've completely flipped Martin Luther King at this point. Martin Luther King couldn't run for office. I know there's a lot of white people who don't like what Martin Luther King said. Doesn't really matter now because he's been negated by these nuts. That one phrase that he said that became memorialized. I do not want my children to be judged by the color of their skin, but rather by the content of their character. And last night we heard a black former president tell people you need to vote for her because she looked like you. That was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. If you haven't seen it, which you may not, it's on X. You could go ahead and pull that up. Hey, Barry, you're lying. He didn't say, oh no, you can find it. It may not ever get shown on MSM. You may never see it. If you don't go on X, you're not going to see it. He actually told a group of guys that were standing around, she looks like you. She come from where you come from. How the hell do you know where she comes from? She was born in Canada, wasn't she? Or lived in Canada or raised in Canada. And she was raised with an Indian family. She didn't come where I come from. How the hell can you say that to somebody? But that's the kind of desperation that they're showing at this point, is that they've shoved him out there to be a surrogate for her, to lie and shame black people into voting for her. Why? Because she's losing the black vote in historic fashion. Trump's not going to win the black vote. I've never told you that Trump was going to win the black vote. What I've told you all along is he was going to take a big enough percentage, and I'm the only one who's been telling you this for months. And I said, do the math. The media's not telling you this. Do the math. If you listened to me back then, when I kept telling you over and over, you can't win. The math doesn't work that way. 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25%. Yeah, you can't make that up. And then it started happening with the Hispanics. Yeah, you can't make that up. And here comes the man. He's walking out. I guess there's no more speakers, so you know the drill here. He's coming out. Looks pretty spiffy tonight. Got the red tie on. Waiting for that music to play. So I'm going to let you see this and hit the music off real quick.
'cause there ain't no doubt.
So, this period of no sound, don't want you to freak out, just can't play the music. He's playing song. He waits for the song to end, and then he walks up to the microphone. And it looks like he's ready to begin speaking. He won't miss a word, I promise. I promise you won't miss anything. And he's ready.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. And it's great to be back in this beautiful state.
Let me know how the sound is.
Hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. And before going further, I want to let everyone who is still recovering from the hurricanes that hit Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, and Virginia to know that we are thinking of them and we are praying for them. God bless them. God bless them. We have a lot of great people today, and I'll do it at the beginning because we have a lot to talk about. What the hell is happening with our country? What are they doing? What are they doing to Colorado? They're ruining your state. They're ruining your state. So let's do this. Let's just very quickly mention some of the really great people and great patriots, and then we're going to get back into the business of discussing what we're going to do. You know what you're going to do? You're going to vote for Trump, and we'll solve your problem in about 15 minutes. We're pleased to be joined this afternoon by Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. Lauren, good job today. Thank you. Also, Greg Lopez. Thank you, Greg. And a woman who beat Liz Cheney by the largest margin in the history of Congress. She got out that whack job. Harriet Hageman. Harriet, thank you. Where's Harriet? What a job. She beat her so badly. It's the single biggest victory in the history, defeating a person sitting in Congress, and she deserved it. She is bad news. Thank you, Harriet, very much. You're really fantastic. Thank you, darling. Also, we have congressional candidates who are really terrific people. They have my endorsement, Gabe Evans and Jeff Crank. A candidate for Congress and former ICE field office director who did a really good job for me, John Fabricatore. John Fabricatore. That's a hell of a name. But it worked. It worked because he did a great job. Wyoming Secretary of State Chuck Gray. Chuck, thank you very much. Great job, Chuck. The Sheriff of Douglas County, Darren Weekly. Aurora City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky. And Stephanie Hancock. The founder and president of the Article 3 project. This guy is tough as hell. We want him in a very high capacity. Mike Davis. Mike. Thank you, Mike. Where's Mike? Mike is great. Here's a man, I met him backstage and I realized I'd never be a big football player. Denver Bronco Derek Wolfe. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Man, is he, where is he? Oh, there he, he's a little hard. You are one big guy. You know, you are one hell of a guy. But you had a great career, congratulations. 10 years in the NFL, all with your team. And he was a winner, and you are a winner. Thank you very much for being here, Derek, appreciate it. We have a very popular man, a very popular political person and a great congressman from Texas, Wesley Hunt. Wesley's fantastic. Thank you. Wesley came in with me. And a woman who's unbelievable, actually. I've gotten to know her. She endorsed me in 2016. I said, you got to be kidding. It was a surprise endorsement. And she believed in the message and what we were saying. We were right about what we were saying. You know, when we came down that escalator and I made those statements, everyone said, how terrible are those statements? Turned out that they were minor compared. They were like little minor statements by comparison. But she got it better than anybody, and she endorsed us very early when it wasn't the thing to do. From Alaska, the great Sarah Palin. Where is she? Thank you, Sarah. With the help of everyone here today, 25 days from now, think of it, 25 days. We are going to defeat Kamala Harris. Who has no clue what the hell is going on, I have to tell you. Did you see where she did a town hall yesterday and she used a teleprompter? I never saw a town. You don't use teleprompters. We don't use teleprompters, period, pretty much. You don't use them for town halls. No, she's not the right person not for this country, not for any country. But very simply, we're going to make America great again. So I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this day because I've been reading about it like so many people all around the world. And I wanted to get here as soon as I could, and I took a good time and a good day. And you know, the crowd, we could sell this place out 4 times. You see what's outside? NBC, of all networks, said a little while ago, they announced, it's the single longest line for anything that they've ever seen. That's pretty good. But I've been waiting for this day, and we're here finally in Aurora, Colorado, to call the attention of the world, and unfortunately the world's already got its attention, to one of the most egregious betrayals that any leader in any nation has ever inflicted on its own people. What they've done to our country, what they're doing to our country. They're destroying, they are ruining our country. We are being led by stupid people. We cannot take it anymore. For the past 4 years, as the so-called border czar, the person in charge of our border, Kamala Harris, and you can't use the name Harris. You know, if you say Harris, nobody knows who the hell you're talking about. Think of it, Harris, nice name. It's like, so we use the name Kamala. She was last, right? She came in last, and now she's running. How about that? In all fairness, I'm not a fan of Sleepy Joe, but Sleepy Joe got 14 million votes. She got none. She never made it to the great state of Iowa. She quit. Out of 22 people, she quit. She had nothing going. And interestingly, when she came in, she was okay, pretty good. But then they heard her talking. They watched her brain in action. And when they saw the brain in action, they said, that's it. And here she is again. But Kamala has imported an army of illegal alien gang members and migrant criminals from the dungeons of the third world. They come from the dungeons, think of that, the dungeons of the third world, from prisons and jails, insane asylums, and mental institutions. And she has had them resettled beautifully into your community to prey upon innocent American citizens. That's what they're doing. And no place is it more evident than right here. Because in Aurora, multiple apartment complexes have been taken over by the savage Venezuela prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. Or is your law enforcement and law enforcement all over the world. They know them all over the world. They're a savage gang, one of the worst in the world. And they're getting bigger all the time because of our stupidity. They're known as TDA. TDA has killed 7 people today, sir. Last month, 6 men with armed rifles and many other men standing right outside waiting for them and handguns were caught on camera as they were forced into a situation, and they said they were forced. They weren't forced. They got their way into an apartment building. They threatened the tenants at gunpoint. These are people that never saw anything like this. These are people that never experienced criminals and crime. They burst into the building and they held tenants at gunpoint and at knife point. 10 minutes later, they opened fire on a 25-year-old man outside the building, fatally shooting him. Of the barbaric thugs who have been identified, at least 3 are illegal aliens who were in Border Patrol custody. They were in custody. By the way, 4 years ago, we had the safest border in the history of our country. Put up that sign, please. Put up my all-time favorite graph. Put up my all-time favorite. Get that put up. That is the most beautiful graph I've ever seen. It's the most beautiful piece of paper I've ever seen. I take it home every night and I sleep with it and I kiss it. Oh, I kiss it, boo-boo. Because without that sucker, I wouldn't be here right now. So if you think about it, Mr. Pastor, great job you did, Pastor. If you think about it, illegal immigration saved my life. I'm the only one. Usually it's the opposite. It's usually the opposite. Thank you very much. But you see that arrow in the bottom? That's when I left. That's the day I left office. You had the lowest number of people coming into our country in the history, recorded history of our country. And then look what happened, like a rocket ship. And they were rough, the ones that came in. We were very, very careful. We remain in Mexico. We checked everybody out. People came in, but then they got rough because then they said, let's do open borders. Let's let the whole world. And as soon as they did that, jails were emptied, mental institutions were emptied. And I would have done the same thing if I were in charge of any of the many countries we're talking about. 3 of these thugs were in Border Patrol custody, but were released into the United States by Kamala. And my message, they were released and they killed people, a lot of people. They were released. But my message today is very simple. No person who has inflicted the violence and terror that Kamala Harris has inflicted on this community can ever be allowed to become the President of the United States. We're not going to let it happen. And your weak and ineffective governor, he's a totally ineffective guy, by the way. I hope you know that. His name is Jared Polis. I got to know him. I got to know him in the White House. He'd come in with other governors, some Democrat. I see them all. I worked with all of them. I know the good ones and the bad ones. He's not a good one, this one. But he'd come in, sir, it's so nice to meet you, sir. Oh, it's such an honor to be, oh, this is the Oval Office. Oh, sir, thank you, sir, thank you, sir. Then he comes back here and he says, I didn't like the guy. Can you believe it? And I gave you, not him, I didn't give anything. I gave you everything that they wanted. I gave you because I love this state. This state has to flip Republican. It has to. It has to. Let's do it. That's why I'm here. Let's do it. I'm not here for my health. That's why I'm here. Think of where I could be, though. I could take our beautiful First Lady. I could be on the beautiful beaches all over the world. I could be in Monte Carlo. I could be all over the world, the best properties in the world. I have the best properties. And where am I? I'm right now in Aurora. And that's where I want to be, because we're going to solve this problem. We're going to solve this problem, right? If you said, where would you rather be, on the most beautiful beaches in the world or with you, trying to figure out what the hell happened to Aurora, because you have a very different place than you had just a few months ago, right? We're going to take care of it. But Polis, he's a coward, he's a fraud, he's pathetically trying to deny. He's pathetic. He doesn't see. You know, they don't want to see. You know what? They don't want to. They want to stay with Washington, because otherwise they'll get indicted. They'll find they did something wrong. They'll get indicted if they don't. So he's afraid. They're all afraid. They're all cowards. So this guy doesn't see what you see. He doesn't see people bursting into buildings with AK-47s, military-style weapons, sometimes better than our own military. You have to ask, they're illegal migrants. They come from poor areas. Where the hell do they get these guns, the best guns? Where do they get them? Where do they get them? Who gives them better guns than our military has? Who is giving them the guns? But she's committed crimes against your state. She has committed crimes by allowing these criminals in, and many of these people are murderers. Let's take a look at a couple of little quick notes that I put up. You know, we're giving you the expensive treatment because of the fact we want to win the state so badly. So we gave you a couple of videos today. Play them, please.
Was it a mistake to loosen the immigration policies?
Do you regret
illegally, and they are expecting to get released here into the United States.
A group of men walking up a stairwell at the Edge Lowry apartment complex in Aurora. All of them appear to be carrying rifles and handguns, and the video shot earlier this month. One of the men can be seen talking on a cell phone. They all then gather around a door and go in. Another video clip shows men forcing a door open.
This is a picture of gang members breaking into a vacant apartment so they could move a Venezuelan family in and then collect rent. This is our business plan, one gang member told a housekeeper. If he, the property manager, doesn't like it, we'll fill him with bullets.
Police in the region say a Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua has victimized thousands through extortion, drug and human trafficking, kidnapping, and murder. Alvaro Boza, a former Venezuelan police officer now living in Florida, says he fled his country in large part because the gang had become so powerful they could kill law enforcement like him with impunity. Boza says a fellow police officer...
Think of it, the safest border in the history of our country. We never had a border so safe. All they had to do is leave it. Joe could have gone to the beach. He thinks he looks good in a bathing suit. And all he had to do is leave the guys that we had. They were great, great people, and we ran it tough. Remain in Mexico, little things like remain in Mexico. And I want to say, we want to have people come into our country, but they have to come in legally. We don't want them. And now America is known all throughout the world as occupied America. They call it occupied. We're being occupied by a criminal force. And we're an occupied state that refuses to let our great law enforcement professionals do the job that they so dearly want to do. You know, they want to do the job so badly, but they're threatened constantly. You're going to lose your pension. They don't want to do it. What is this ideology? It's so sick. But to everyone here in Colorado and all across our nation, I make this pledge and vow to you. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It will be Liberation Day. Thank you. Thank you. I will rescue Aurora and every town that has been invaded and conquered. These towns have been conquered. Explain that to your governor. He doesn't have a clue. They've been conquered. And we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them out of our country, and we will be very, very effective in doing it. It's going to happen very, very fast. We're going to get them the hell out of our country. And if you're a weak and ineffective governor, Jared Polis was doing his job, he would be leading the fight to get these gangs and thugs the hell out of Colorado now. And remember, it was Polis, so nice to me in the White House. Sir, yes, sir, called me sir. Called me sir, would have done whatever the hell I wanted. Yes, sir. Oh, sir, it's such an honor. And yet it was Polis who led the move to take me off the ballot because I was leading in the polls against all of the Democrats. And then the Supreme Court, very brave and very brilliant, actually, voted 9-0 that I should be on the ballot. 9-0. Everybody unanimous that I should be. I was leading everybody on the ballot, every Democrat. I was leading everybody. He said, we have to get him off the ballot because that was part of their scheme. You know, not only the weaponization, but this was actually part of the weaponization. Their first move was to try and get me off the ballot. They didn't want to run against me. They liked other people much better. Much better. You know, we ran and won in 2016. We did much better by millions of votes in 2020, but we won't discuss that. And I will tell you, you see it by the crowd. You see it outside. Let's take a look outside. We are today, there's more enthusiasm for this movement, MAGA, the greatest movement. It's called Make America Great Again. There's more enthusiasm today than ever before. But there was great indignation in Colorado by what this ineffective person did. They really were angry at him, and they were angry. And especially, you know who was the most indignant? The Democrats, believe it or not. They thought it was a terrible thing to do because that is really a threat to democracy, not the fake threat that they use all the time. So I hope that Colorado, I love this place. I'm here a lot, as you know, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends here. And they tell me the whole thing is turning, but you can't live like this. You can't live with these people. These are stone cold killers. You could be walking down the street with your husband. You'll both be dead. They won't even remember they did it the following morning. You can't live like this. So I hope that Colorado will show a tremendous protest vote for what they did to try and keep me off the ballot, and more importantly, for what they have done to the fabric of your culture. And remember, I really believe Colorado is, you know, we're very close. We're very close. In fact, in one poll, we're leading by a little bit. Think of it, though. Think of it. The Democrats are good people. The Democrats were angrier than anybody. They thought it was terrible, the concept of it. And even when you get the 3 very liberal votes in the Supreme Court voting, when they vote for Trump, you know it's got to be pretty off the wall, right? But they did. I respect them for doing it. But Colorado is going to vote for me because I am going to make Colorado safe again. We're going to make you safe. We're going to do it fast. In 3 local apartment complexes that Kamala has infested with the TDA, that's the gang that we talked about, the prison gang. They come out of prisons. 80% of the residents are now living with their relatives in different states and other places. They've been forced out of their building. 20% of the residents stayed, and they're fearing for their life. They had no choice but to stay. They're being threatened every single day. They're going to be out soon. They're going to be out. They don't have to be out. I would say if they can hold out, you know, on January 20th, it's too long. You better get out of there. It's too unsafe. But January 20th, those guys are going to be out on their asses, and they're going to be out of this country. They're going to be out of the country. Members of the gang now beat down doors with hammers and engage in open gun battles with rival groups in this once peaceful, beautiful, pretty crime-free community. The illegal alien gang member who was the alleged leader behind the invasion of Aurora was recently charged for beating a man beyond recognition. Beat him beyond recognition, breaking his nose, breaking his jaw, and inflicting traumatic brain injury on this victim. He will never be the same, as you know. The thug was later arrested for shooting two men in the same apartment building and breaking another man's ankle, which he did just for fun. Once again, this animal had arrived at our border and was released into the United States by Kamala Harris, the worst border czar in the history of our country. Here in Aurora, and remember that chart, my all-time favorite chart, remember that chart. Look what happened, that arrow, all-time low in history, and then look it to the right, look what happened literally the day they took over. It became a scene that nobody thought was possible, not in this state. I know the state very well, I've been here so much, and not in this state. Nobody thought this was possible, that would even be up here talking about this. Did anybody think 5 years ago, 6 years, anybody would be up here talking about that a Venezuelan gang with the most sophisticated rifles, weapons, and guns that anybody has ever seen would be taking over your state? And they're not stopping. They're not stopping. If this guy gets in, and if you got to get a new governor, by the way, but if he gets in again, runs next year. But actually, more importantly, I can't believe she gets it. I can't believe it. By the way, did you see 60 Minutes? Her answer was so incompetent that CBS and 60 Minutes, a prestigious show, but I knew they were crooked as hell for years. They used to do the opposite to me. You know, to me, they used to cut my statement. To her, they added the statement on. This is a big difference. You want the guy that gets cut. They cut it because I made such great statements. I said, why did you cut that statement? Well, we just felt we had to do it for time. They cut the heart out of the statements. But for me, they cut the statements. For them, they added it. So they took her entire statement out, and they took some just words. It's just words. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with her. They took these words. So think of this. And you know they got caught. I think it's the greatest scandal in broadcast history, actually. They took it out and they added something else in. You think they'd do that for Trump? Her statement was so bad that rather than airing it, they cut it out. They took out the whole thing and they added a much shorter statement that she made 10 minutes later, having nothing to do with the question. I don't think anything like that's ever happened. And now we're finding out that it happened throughout. It wasn't the only instance. And now we're thinking that it probably happened with Biden a couple of times because he was interviewed by 60 Minutes and some strange things happened. So they're asking, but think of this. So CBS gets a license and the license is based on honesty. I think they have to take their license away. I do. Here in Aurora, a 35-year-old mother of three had to leave her apartment out of fear for her children's lives. She said, quote, it's not safe there, especially if you have kids. If you have kids, it's horrible. My kids used to walk to school. They were so happy. We were so safe, but they don't feel safe anymore. And I would never let them walk to school. Sometimes I keep my kids home. I don't even let them go to school. When I announced my presidency in 2015, you all remember that time, and they said, oh, he's just doing it for fun. You think this has been fun? I've been investigated more than Al Capone. This has not been. Al Capone, Scarface, he's the most probably, I always try and think of very evil people. Give me the most and I'll tell you I was investigated more. But think of it. He goes Hillary Clinton. How about Hunter, right? Now, I think of Al Capone because there's a toughness, a meanness, Scarface, he had the whole deal. And I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. That's an amazing phenomena. But when I announced my presidency in 2015, I said they're not sending their best, and I took such heat. How dare he say that? This is America. Well, it turned out that what I said was like peanuts compared to the fact. I said they're sending people that have lots of problems, which they definitely do. They're sending people and bringing those problems with them, and they're bringing drugs, and they're bringing crime, and they're rapists. Okay, so I made that statement, and I got the hell knocked out of me by the fake news. Look how many you have back there. Oh, I got the hell knocked. But I took a lot of heat for saying it, but I was right. And now everybody is admitting that I was right. You know, that Trump was right. How many times have you heard that? You know, when Trump ran, he made those statements. Those statements are peanuts compared to what's happening to our country. These are the worst criminals in the world. Kamala used to say, you can't say it anymore, no, the people we're bringing in are very nice people. They don't commit crime, remember? Our criminals are worse. Our criminals are like babies compared to these people. These people are the most violent people on earth. And remember, they don't come just from South America. They come from the Congo and Africa. They come from all over the world. They come from the Middle East. They come from Asia. They come from prisons and jails. They come from all over the world. And she was saying, these are very nice people. Either she's really dumb or she's very naive. Something's wrong. Something's wrong up there. The only good thing about it, I'll tell you, there's a couple of good things. There are only one good thing, but maybe two. One of the good things about it is that they make our criminals look like nice people, okay? So our criminals are now, we see these really horrible, horrendous criminals, and we say, they're not so bad. The other thing is, they're really great if you happen to be running against the politician that allowed this to happen. Because I don't know how it's possible for anybody to lose, because we have to clean out our country and we have to make America great again, and we're going to do it. So you know the story here. We're joined today by another Aurora resident who you know, Cindy Romero, and she's going to come up and say just a few words. She bravely published her camera footage of what she witnessed, and it is gone all over the world. Cindy was forced to flee her home after her car was hit with gunfire. Another day in Aurora. Can you imagine this happening? A lot of these people live in Aurora. They live in Colorado. Most of you live in Colorado. And can you imagine that you have somebody standing up here talking about this stuff? It's hard to believe. She said life in her community had become, quote, a total nightmare. And every time she went to take out the trash or went to bed at night, she had to lock her door with 4 separate locks. She has locks all over her door. And then put braces on her door. And she was preventing people that were knocking on her door. They were wanting to do a lot of bad things. So I'd like to ask Cindy, she's been very brave, actually, and she was able to release footage that was so violent and vicious. And Cindy, I wouldn't have done it personally, but that's okay. You're probably braver than I am. Cindy, come up for a minute, please. Come on up. Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. This isn't just affecting me, this is affecting all of you as well. We've got to get Trump back in office. We've got to get it done. With Trump's help, we can take this state back over. We can make a difference. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, for believing me. Thank you.
You're beautiful. You're very brave. Very brave. Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. She's very brave. Getting all of the evidence and all of that footage. I just said you're very brave, Cindy. Thank you very much. Really a big help. And because of Cindy and others like Cindy, the radical left can't say it never happened, because there we have it. And I promise you this, Cindy, that Kamala Harris's reign of terror ends the day I take the oath of office. It ends. Your community will no longer live in fear. You will once again have a protector in the White House. I'm going to be a protector. You know, I said, I think we're doing very well with women. We're doing great in the polls. We're winning in all of the polls, just about. But somebody said, women love my policy, but they don't like me. I think they do like me. I'll tell you what. So they said, and I said a week ago, I said, I think women like me because I will be your protector, and I protected you for 4 years. We had no wars. We had no terrorism. We had none of these things that you're seeing today at levels that nobody in the world is experiencing. And I said, I will be your protector. They said, who the hell is he to But the women didn't say that. The women want protection. They don't want to have these people pouring into their house. And you know where else I protect you? Where I protect you very well. I knocked out ISIS, as you know. They've been playing with ISIS for 20 years. I did it in 1 month. We have the greatest military in the world, but you have to know how to use them. You have to know how to use them. But I protect you against outside enemies. But you know, I always say, we have the outside enemy, so you can say China, you can say Russia, you can say Kim Jong-un, you can say, but that's not, it's going to be fun. If you have a smart president, no problem. It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia. And I'll tell you, as an example with Russia, if I were president, the Ukraine-Russia situation would have never happened, October 7th in Israel would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened. You had no inflation. Everyday Americans like Cindy are living in fear, all because Kamala Harris decided to empty the slums and prison cells of Caracas and many other places, happening all over the world. Every country, you know, prison populations all over the world are down. Crime all over the world is down because they take the world's criminals, gang members, drug dealers, and they deposit them into the United States, bus after bus after bus. In Venezuela, their crime rate went down 72%. You know why? Because they took the criminals out of Caracas and they put them along your border and they said, if you ever come back, we're going to kill you. Think of that. And we have to live with these animals. But we're not going to live with them for long. You watch. Kamala's policy is to release and resettle all illegals without checking, without check. You know, she's a radical left person, just so you know. There's no way. The biggest problem with her is nobody knew who the hell she was. You'd say, who's running? Harris. Harris. Who the hell is Harris? They said Kamala, the one that failed, the one that was the first one out in the 22-person campaign for the Democrat nomination, the one that wasn't able to make it to Iowa, the one that quit first. She was the first one out. She's running, but she's more liberal than crazy Bernie Sanders. Can you believe it? She's more liberal than Pocahontas. You know who that is? Remember Pocahontas? She said she's Indian. Why? Because my cheekbones are high, my mother told me. My mother told me I had high cheekbones and therefore I'm an Indian. She made a living going around saying she was an Indian, going to college, becoming a professor. No, but I hit her very hard. That was the end of her presidential campaign. Thereby guaranteeing unfettered access for Venezuelan gangs and thugs and criminals. And you know, we're talking a lot about Venezuela because Aurora is really infected by Venezuela, but they're coming from all countries, all countries. We have the great Tom Homan, Central Casting, right? Tom Homan told me the other day. He said last month they came from 168 countries all over the world. Most people don't even know you had that. We actually have more than 200, but they don't even know you had. But they came from 168 countries, most of them criminals, and they deposit them in our country. And we're supposed to take it. And then the liberal philosophy is, we'll make them into wonderful people. No, you're not going to make them into wonderful people. Some people murdered, many people actually murdered more than 3 people. The murderers that came in, some were on death row. And they said, it's better if we just let it go to America. This is what we have. And they're in your community, but they're going to be all over. And you know, other communities in other states, because every state is a border state now. It's not Texas and Arizona, and it's every state is a border state. Every state. And and people are living in deathly fear. Most of them, a lot of them have already been hit, but a lot of them haven't, but they're going to be hit because there's millions of them. They're all over the place, and they're walking through our country, and they're going to be settled in a lot of these states that never thought a thing like this could happen. It's only going to get worse, but we're going to make it better, and we're going to make it better really fast. Kamala is flying them. Think of this. She said, no, you know, about 2 months ago, her and Sleepy Joe, they said, we're really getting killed by this issue, so let's toughen up the border a little bit. All he would have had to do is say, you know, he keeps talking about policy, and Trump told the Congress not to do this, and it's false. All he had to do is one thing. Call up Border Patrol. This is the President of the United States speaking. Close the border, and the border's closed. You don't need a bill. You don't need a bill. But he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that because they actually want to have open borders. So they had 21 million people come in, I think much more than that, including the gotaways. But think of this. If you had 4 years of that, you would have 200 million people come in the whole world. The country would be over. It would be finished. It wouldn't be. You wouldn't even have a country anymore. You'd have a crime den. She cannot be allowed to do this to our country. She shouldn't be the one that was chosen anyway, because she is, in fact, by the way they chose her, a threat to democracy. She really is. And just in case you didn't know it, Biden hates her. I believe there is a small possibility, very small, like 1%. There's a 1% possibility that he hates her more than he hates Donald Trump. I think he hates her. The last thing he thought, you know, he won the primary. In all fairness, he won. It was me against him. How about me? I have to run against a guy. I spent $150 million. I had to debate him. I debated the guy. He went way, way down. And I thought it was over. And then it's like a fighter. Then they put a new person in her. And we don't know anything about her. We have to, but now we learned, and now the people are learning, and she's crashing like a rock. Uh-oh, I just a thought from a very brilliant mind. They might want to put a third person in that. Oh, no. Please be nice to Kamala, to my people, I'm telling. Everybody that's on the Trump team, be nice to Kamala, because they're going to put a third person in. Let's see, who are they going to put in next? This can only happen. They keep saying Hillary. Hillary's coming. Oh, Hillary's back. You know, it's interesting. If Trump talks about the 2020 election, they say, indict him. He's a conspiracy theorist. But Hillary is still talking about 2016. She has got serious Trump derangement syndrome. She's got a massive case of Trump derangement. No, but you ever notice she talks about it all the time, all those people that, but when anybody from the right talks even a little bit, no, we don't forget. We're not forgetting. Hillary is talking about it. I saw her 2 days ago. What they did to me. No. Isn't it fun? Isn't it nice? Because I haven't looked at these stupid things in about 15 minutes. Isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need a teleprompter? Isn't that nice? Isn't that? Look at it. Look at that. Would some of you like to go outside and let them take your place for a little while? I thought that would happen. She's flying them in now with migrant flights. So we thought, she said, we're going to so they tightened it up a little bit. So the numbers looked a little, but it doesn't count. The migrant flights don't count. So they don't count. So she forgot to tell anybody that they have massive Boeing aircraft flying them in one after another over the border. So she didn't close it. And then they have the apps, right? How about the apps? Where they have an app so that the gangs, the people, the cartels, the heads of them, they can call the app. They call the second most resettled population nobody's ever seen. They call up the app and they ask, where do we drop the illegals? And people are on the other side, and they left that. She actually created an app, a phone system, where they can call up. I mean, she's a criminal. She's a criminal. She really is, if you think about it. So now we inform them that you didn't close up the border because you have hundreds of thousands of people being flown in over the top of the border. No. If they ever did get this, and I don't believe it can happen, I can't, because the American people ultimately get it right, they're smart. But if she ever did, you're going to have hundreds of millions of people coming in here, and you're not going to have any, and they're going to take your house. That woman has a beautiful house over there. I saw it, actually. Enjoy it, because you won't have it long. They will take over your house. Just like Venezuela. Venezuela was a very successful country. 20 years ago, it was a rich, beautiful country. It was taken over. And I used to talk about this. I said, if they don't get it right, you'll have Venezuela on steroids, remember? And that's what you're going to have if you don't vote for Trump. I hate it. But if you vote for Trump, you're going to have one hell of a great country. We're going to build it back and fast. Venezuelan illegals are the number 2 most resettled population, but they do it through their phone app. And on day 1 of this Trump administration, if you take a look at Springfield, Ohio, how about that? They have about 50,000 people, no crime, beautiful community, everything nice, schools, everything nice. They dropped in 32,000 people that are really illegal. They did it in such a way that they could make the case. They said they did it through probation. What's probation? They took them in through probation. So I assume they're like prisoners or something, and therefore they're legal. They brought in 32,000 people into a community of 50, a community that was a nice community. And now if you want to go to the hospital, you can't get in. Your children can't get into school. And what they're doing is looking, the mayor is a very nice man. I mean, I think he's nice. He's trying to be nice. He's looking for interpreters because they don't speak the language of you and everybody in this room. It's a totally different language. So they're looking for interpreters. And he's acting like, yes, we're having a hard time hiring interpreters. This community was hit with 32,000 illegal migrants. They have to go back to where they came from. I'm sorry. Springfield, Ohio. On day 1 of the Trump Organization, when I founded it, it was nice, but now it's great. But I want to get back to the Trump administration, because the Trump administration is going to do things like has really never been done. We're going to clean this thing out. The good thing about this 4-year period, it's a horrible period. It's a shame it happened. It should have never happened. Shouldn't have happened. But they've done so badly that we'll be able to do it, and we'll be able to do it with cheers, because people see how bad it is and how bad it's been run. And that's why there's far more enthusiasm for this move, the greatest movement ever. And by the way, if it wasn't, the fake news would be headlines. Donald Trump lied. When Biden would get up and he'd say, we're going to stop MAGA, we're going to do something about MAGA. Remember with the pink wall, he looked like the devil, right? Remember the pink wall? We're going to stop MAGA, I think it's called MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. And I said, Joe, it's called Make America Great Again. And he wants to stop it. He wants to stop it. We're going to stop MAGA. But the border will be sealed. The invasion will be stopped. The migrant flights will end, and Kamala's app for illegals will be shut down immediately within 24 hours. All within 24 hours. And you know, I've always had an ability to do a lot of things, so I'm going to do something else on the first day. I'm going to do all of those things. The border, we're going to make it strong very quickly. We're going to get people out that are criminals and horrible people. But we're also going to do something else. Drill, baby, drill. 2 things. On that same day, we will begin the task of finding and deporting every single illegal alien gang member from our country. We'll get them out. This will be a major national undertaking, according to newly published data from ICE, the great patriots of ICE, I call them. These guys are tough as hell, I'll tell you. They should be fighting for Dana White, UFC, ICE. You got to see them. They go in MS-13. That's another beautiful gang. They're tough as hell. They've taken them out by the thousands. She wants to end ICE. She doesn't want to have ICE. But they informed us that over the last short period of time, 13,099 illegal aliens convicted of murder are at large and dropped into the United States against their wishes, against our Border Patrol's wish. The wishes of our Border Patrol. They would say, please don't do this, please don't do this. Even as the New York Times, which is totally corrupt, I mean, I can't stand that paper. I can't stand them. You know what you do with the Times? When you read a story, just think the opposite. They're the enemy of the people. They really, New York Times is the enemy. Washington Post is the enemy of the people, too. I don't understand it, why? And then they lose credibility. Eventually, they go out of business. I call it the failing New York Times. But even as the New York Times recently reported, the TDA Venezuelan prison gang has, quote, sneaked into the United States among the millions of migrants who have crossed the border and is peddling drugs, guns, and women all across the 50 states, from the urban centers like New York and Chicago to Florida beaches to the once tranquil middle America. It was once tranquil. You were once tranquil. In Colorado, the gang even got a green light to shoot police officers. Did you know that the gang got the okay to kill your police? You know that, right? By the way, that's the New York Times. That's not me. That's the New York Times saying that. They got the green light to kill your police. Just days ago, it was an amazing day. I was in a small town, Prairie du Chien in Wisconsin. You know, we're leading Wisconsin by 4.5 points, too. Right? They have a similar problem. You know, almost all states have this. You know, just so we set it straight, Aurora's got a lot of publicity, but you have states that have a bigger problem than Aurora. You have that people aren't talking about. A lot of the people that run the states, they don't want to talk about it. They want to try and solve it, but they can't because they're not tough enough. You need very tough people like ICE, like military. You need very tough people to solve it. They can't. You know, you'll have a sheriff with 1 or 2 men, and you'll have 25 migrants with weaponry that they haven't even seen in some cases. No, you need help. But they don't want to talk about it because the public relations is so bad for the town or the little city that they run, or the big city. Look at Chicago, look at New York, look at Los Angeles, what's happening to it. In Wisconsin, where last month an illegal alien member of this ruthless gang was arrested for holding a mother and a daughter captive against their will and sexually assaulting them again and again and again. In Houston in June, 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari was kidnapped, tied up, and assaulted for 2 hours under the bridge before she was murdered by 2 Venezuelan TDAs, these gang members who Kamala Harris had ordered and let into the United States, totally unvetted. Nobody knew who they were, totally unvetted. Come on in, you just come on in. In New York City, another gang member recently shot 2 New York City police officers, hitting one in the chest and the other in the leg. They were really, really badly hurt, probably going to make it. And just last week, police arrested over a dozen members of TDA, the Venezuelan gang, who had taken over yet another apartment complex in San Antonio. They're like in the real estate business, like I used to be. They take over a lot of real estate, but they do it by gunpoint. I had to go borrow money. I had to see the banks. This is a wonderful deal. Would you like to? But they just walk in with guns and take it over. It's much quicker. It's a horrible in San Antonio and terrorized its residents to a level that they've never seen before. San Antonio police very aptly named their law enforcement effort Operation Aurora, because Aurora was the one that was first and got all that publicity. Operation Aurora. In honor of Jocelyn Nungari, Laken Riley, beautiful Laken, Rachel Morin, and all of the others that are dead and or mortally wounded at the hands of migrants who should never have been allowed into our country, I'm announcing today that upon taking office, we will have an Operation Aurora at the federal level. To expedite the removals of these savage gangs, and I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. 1798, this was put there, 1798, that's a long time ago, right? To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. Who would have ever thought that a president or a future president would ever have to stand here and say such things? Who would think that that's even possible to have to? This distress. We're a failing country. We're laughed at all over the world. We will send elite squads of ICE, Border Patrol, and federal law enforcement officers to hunt down, arrest, and deport every last illegal alien gang member until there is not a single one left in this country. And if they come back into our country, they will be told it is an automatic 10-year sentence in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. With your vote, we will achieve complete and total victory over these sadistic monsters. It's going to go very quickly. Remember our local police? They're great. I know them so well. They've been restricted from operating. They're great. They know everything about every one of them. They say, oh, how will you ever find them? The local police know everyone. They know their middle names. They know their serial numbers, where they live. No, and they want to do their job. They're done. You have no idea how many police officers say, sir, we're going to indemnify them against any prosecutions, because they get prosecuted if they do their work. I'm going to pass that. It'll pass so fast. If they do their job, they get prosecuted by their own people. They get sued by the people that won't take care of the criminals. Some of the DAs that won't do the, think of it, and AGs. They won't go after the criminal, but they'll go after our police officers if they do the job. We will take back our suburbs, we'll take back our cities and towns, and we will take back our country, and we will do it very, very quickly. What Kamala Harris, and remember, I remember when Joe, he didn't want to do it. He was too tired. He didn't want to do it. I like to do it myself. And by the way, how good is J.D. Vance? Is he great? I know J.D. J.D.'s going to be saying, sir, let me do it. I want to do it, sir. And if he did it, it would be done right. But I'd say, J.D., I want to do it. We'd have an argument over who's going to do it. It'll be done right. But J.D. was great. He was great the other night exposing that total moron. Man, can you imagine? How about at a debate, a guy calls himself a knucklehead? He says he's a knucklehead. And he is a knucklehead when you get right down. What a team that is. So Joe Biden is considered the worst president in the history of our country. They are considered the worst administration in the history of our country. And the only one that's happy is Jimmy Carter, because by comparison, he looked like a brilliant president, okay? Much better. No, he was much better. What Kamala Harris has done to our border is a crime and an atrocity of the highest order. But even after all of the pain and suffering she's caused, when Kamala was asked this week if she would do anything different than Biden, she choked like a dog. She said, not one thing I would. So she wouldn't have done anything different. Let's take a look at this video.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition. US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
The cost of homes have spiked. Home buyers need to earn 80% more than they did in 2020 to afford a house.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
Can you imagine? I watched that, and I said, well, this is going to be a long answer, because she's got, she's changed 15 policies. She was in favor of gun confiscation, every single thing that you don't want, 15 times. I said this, and she changed. Nobody's ever, if you change one thing, you're in trouble. She did every single thing, but every single thing she changed, she would end up doing, including banning fracking, which is going to drive up costs, and hence, I'm leading Pennsylvania by a lot. That would be the end of Pennsylvania. That would be the end of Pennsylvania. But that statement, I can't think of a thing I changed from Joe Biden, the worst president ever. She's not going to change. No, she choked. I thought this was going to be a long answer, long, beautiful. The weave. I thought you'd do a weave like Trump does, weave. And then always come back into what you're doing. You need a great memory for that. She doesn't have that. But what she said is disqualifying. If she had any honor, she would drop out of the race right now and resign the vice presidency, a disgrace. Because what she has done to the country is unthinkable. It was just announced yesterday that inflation came in substantially higher than expected last month, double what was predicted, with much of the gain coming from food prices going up, rent and housing costs going up, and car prices going through the roof. 4 years ago, when I left office, we had no inflation. We had virtually, think of it, we had no inflation virtually for my whole term, 4 years. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We never had an economy like that. And we were energy independent. How does that sound? We were energy independent. Now we're buying our oil from Venezuela and other countries. Under Biden and Harris, the economy has been a disaster, the worst inflation in history, costing the typical family $29,000 in higher prices. Think of that, $29,000. But I think, to me, the worst thing of all, when she says she wouldn't have changed, this is something that if it was me, I mean, you'd never see me again. I really believe it. Kamala lost 325,000 migrant children who are now dead or in slavery. They're gone. She's missing 325,000 children. Their parents are looking. They're never going to see their parents again. They came in, they were taken in, and they're either dead, in slavery, or just plain missing. It's a horrible thing, and I thought I'd put this up because it's a beautiful day. We have some wonderful people, and I want you to take a look at military the way it was, where we won 2 world wars, where we had something known as Fort Bragg, where the names were changed. You win 2 wars out of Fort Bragg, and they want to change the name, but where they changed the name, out of places that we won a lot of military battles, wars, and I thought you should see the way it sort of was. You get a pretty heavy dose of this, and I saw it the other day. I said, we got to put it up. Go ahead, please.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not!
All right, so he's showing a movie on the screen that includes Full Metal Jacket, and you can't show those kind of movies. That's why the feed that you see is not showing it, and I'm cutting the volume on that clip because you can't show that copyrighted material over the air. He can show it at the venue, but basically showing this would be extremely problematic because it's clips out of a actual movie. So as soon as he turns and begins to speak again, we'll turn the volume on. I apologize, but this is the rules that we have to work under on this platform. Now, I'm not making it happen. This is what they require. So it is what it is. But what he's showing on screen, let me see if I can't even show it. But he's showing basically the transformers that have gone from working in the, being in the military to being transformers. It's absolutely incredible what they've done to our military. It's actually kind of sickening. So if you saw this, you'd probably be like ready to throw up anyway. But it's these people dressed as military and then becoming transformers. He's back live.
And you see all of that, and Kamala says she wouldn't change one thing from the worst president in the history of our country. She wouldn't change one thing. The only way to end this suffering is to vote for change this November. You got to vote for change. Emergency rooms in Denver, beautiful Denver, have been, think of this, 6,000% increase in patients. 6,000% increase. You're not going to get a room, when you go to hospitals, you're not going to get a room. Someday you don't know it because you hopefully won't need a hospital. But if you do, you're not going to be able to get in. They come in from Colombia, from Honduras, from Ecuador, from Venezuela. They come in from many. You cannot get a room. They can't get a room. A hospital only 15 miles outside Aurora has been overwhelmed by 20,000 visits from illegal aliens, costing the hospital over $10 million, and those costs are being passed on to you directly. Before Kamala Harris, before she came, Denver schools enrolled an average, listen to this though, Denver schools, this is the way it used to be, enrolled an average of 500 new students every year. Earlier this year, it was reported that they were enrolling 500 new students every 2 weeks. Most of them coming in from South American countries. They don't speak our language, and they don't even want to be here, frankly. Many of them don't even want to be here. In Aurora, nearly 3,000 illegal migrant children have been placed into your elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, once again at your expense and at the cost of more opportunity for them and no opportunity for your kids. They're not, your kids can't even get into their own schools. Kids that went to a school aren't even able to get back in. They're taking care of these people before they take care of our children. These massive new burdens on our education and healthcare systems are being experienced by communities all across our country and are destroying your children's education, safety, and indeed destroying their lives. And as you know, FEMA, which has totally gotten out of control and away from its mission, it had a mission, a big mission. You know what that mission was? To save people in storms and other things. Has spent billions and billions of dollars illegally allowing people to come into our country and destroying our once beautiful way of life. Yet hurricane victims from North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, Louisiana, Texas, all over our country. When you have storms all over our country, different kinds of storms, different kinds of catastrophes, they can't get housing or rescues, and they're offered pennies on the dollar. They're offered pennies on the dollar. These people that have gone through hell are offered pennies on the dollar from Kamala and Joe, and yet we give hundreds of billions of dollars from countries that people have never even heard of in this country. And now Kamala wants to provide amnesty and citizenship to the 21 million illegal aliens she let in, including murderers, gang members, drug lords, human traffickers, not to mention the millions of gotaways and all of the others that very smart leaders have viciously thrown out of their countries. These are very smart leaders. I would do it. I would have done it faster than them, I tell you. As soon as I thought of it, I said, remember I said it 3 years ago, I said, that's going to happen if they have open borders. And I was right. But who Kamala has allowed into our country at the expense of our children, our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents, our uncles, and our aunts. Under the Trump administration, we will put American citizens first, American children first, American patients first, American taxpayers first, American workers first, and American communities first. We will put communists, Marxists, and fascists last. And they will always be last. I will end catch and release. I will restore remain in Mexico. Remember, I got it done with the Mexican government. Remain in Mexico. They couldn't come into this country and they had to remain in Mexico. You think that was easy to get from Mexico, wasn't? But I got it. I got everything. I will bring back Title 42 medical rejections. People come in, they're very sick. Very sick. They're coming into our country. They're very, very, very sick with highly contagious disease. And they're let into our country to infect our country. And they're coming in at numbers that nobody's ever seen before. I will send Congress a bill to ban all sanctuary cities in our country, including Denver. And we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of the United States. We will close the border. We will stop the invasion of illegals into our country. We will defend our territory. We will not be conquered. We will not be conquered. We will reclaim our sovereignty, and Colorado will vote for Trump as a protest and signal to the world that we are not going to take it anymore. We're not going to take it anymore. I will liberate Colorado. I will give you back your freedom and your life. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Colorado. Vote for Trump. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you.
All right, in a speech that he made that spanned probably a little bit over 2 hours, the man is closing. He is absolutely closing the deal. He is letting everybody know, I'm looking at Colorado, I'm looking at New York, and after what I'm about to tell you about California, this rally in Coachella is about to take on a completely whole aura. It's going to be different. I don't think he can win California, but who knows? Who knows? He might be able to take on California after what I'm going to tell you. But before I tell you that, I want to go into something that he said. So stay tuned. I got some stuff to tell you. Don't go anywhere. I need you for about 15 more minutes as Mr. Trump, President Trump, begins to exit the stage. These people in Colorado are on fire. He's on fire. He's having a great time. Look at the smile, dancing. He knows he's got this. Gonna close it out now. We got 20-something days left to go. Stay safe, close it out, and you're gonna win. Point blank. That's it. Gonna win. All right, so Elvis is leaving the building. Not quite yet. I like to always wait and make sure he gets away out of there safely. But it's amazing seeing what's happened. So he's done. So let me just tell you guys what has happened. Excuse me. That's my wife. I got to tell her I'm on air. So here's what's happened. In the last hour, in case you guys have been here for 2 hours watching this with me, and California, I'm gonna have to watch the chat here, so I want to hear what you guys say here. California is reinstituting the mask mandate on November 1st. Put it on. Just broke a little while ago while you guys were watching this. I cannot believe what these Democrats are doing. I cannot believe Gavin Newsom is such an idiot. The mask mandate is going back into effect. They're saying that's not all the counties, but it's like 4 or 5 of the bigger counties. They're making people in California put the mask back on. Before the election, which is probably going to terrify everybody in blue states at this point. Because as they're looking over here like, California's doing what? California's going to make people wear masks again? They're going to have to go vote with a mask on? November 1st, you have to have a mask on in California. People are like, are you kidding me? Yeah, Cali mask mandate. Insanity. If you hadn't heard it before, you're going to hear it pretty soon when you get off of here. It's everywhere. I cannot fathom, I cannot even believe, I can't even comprehend that Gavin Newsom would be so stupid to make people wear a mask. And so, one of the biggest states in the country, can you imagine on November 1st, if this thing begins to spread, if New York says, you got to wear a mask? Ain't going to happen down here. I'm in Florida, so I ain't worried about it. Y'all can come on down if you want. But imagine if some of these other liberal states, Michigan, Wisconsin, begin telling people you have to wear masks. But they're not going to enforce it with the newcomers. The newcomers, they're going to be able to do anything they want to do. there's no way they're going to enforce it on them. It's going to be on the good people of California. You voted for it. Yeah, oh my God, ridiculous, and promoted, the C boosters. You voted for it, California. I mean, maybe not the guys, people watching this, but California, you let this happen. It's not going to change unless you people who live in California rise up and say, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. We're done. We're over this. You can't make this happen. You cannot keep doing this to people. They are showing you what kind of tyrants they really are. So I hope every single one of you get pissed off to the gills, because it could come to where you live. If he's doing it, you can bet your ass there's other Democrat governors like, hey, yo, Gavin, why you doing that, bro? Oh, it's back? Oh, okay, we need to do it. And then all of a sudden you're back around with the face diaper all over again, walking around, hey, what's up, man? Doing good, man. How you doing? And they're doing it before the election? Before a vote has been cast, basically? I mean, there may be some early voting, but before the votes have been cast in California, he's doing this? Could California now be in play? Is this going to be something where people in California now reach, that's it, I'm out. I've seen this movie, I ain't buying any more tickets. I'm voting for Trump. I would hope so. I would. That's their October surprise. Yeah, maybe that might be it. Screw that. Gavin Newsom deserves to be in prison. Yeah, it's crazy. The mask mandate is only for hospitals and doctors' offices. Is that supposed to be a good thing? You understand, you can't vote out Marxism and communism. And for people to think, oh, it's only this. For now. What about on November 6th, he says, hey, guess what? Everybody put on the face diaper all over again. What are you going to do? Stroke of his pen. Everybody put it on. Nah. Don't even let them go down that road. They should be punished and voted into oblivion for even considering it. For even putting it on any level. For even using the word mandate. Hey, if you don't feel comfortable, put on a mask. That's all you got to say. You don't like it? Put on a mask. You're worried? Put on a mask. Mandate? Vote your ass out. See, people like this in California, if you're out there, that gets people pissed off. Well, it's only this. Don't worry. It's just doctors' offices and hospitals. No. It's the word mandate. That is the government telling you, you have to do this. I remember back then they were arresting people for basically out there on a what do you call those things? Surfboard, where you're, the ones, whatever it's called, paddleboard. I remember when they filled in the skate parks with dirt and sand so people couldn't skate. See, it starts like that. Hey, it's just a little bit. Hey, we're just going to do hospitals and doctors' offices. Okay, now we're going to add supermarkets to it. Oh, now we're going to add stadiums. Oh, now let's go ahead and... There's no stopping this. You can't even sit back and accept and go, no, not again. Don't even give them that door to open. Yet, they need that. Man, I cannot believe where people are. And they're saying stuff like, it's only that. Don't worry about it. You're crazy. We will not comply with something that never worked the first time. Absolutely. Mandate? Oh, it's not a mandate. It's a woman date. Yeah, you're right. It's like I'm being, what was it? Oppressive, offensive. So they're telling you that they are sending something. Interesting. Just stop being sheep and say no. Just I can tell you right now, Trump is going to be in Coachella. Is it tomorrow, I believe, correct? Are we going to Coachella tomorrow? Is that when it is? Let me just check here real quick here. Yeah, Coachella is tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So you just served up a nice gift for him. He's going to have a megaphone to tell everybody in this huge ranch, hey, guess what? You like that mask? Remember that? Remember those days when you couldn't go into the skate park? Remember when you couldn't even go paddleboarding? Remember you couldn't do anything because they mandated you couldn't do it? Well, guess what? This is how it starts. It only takes a little bit and then you're screwed. So y'all can think it's okay if you want. They're mandating it because the jab works. I said no to it last time. No mask, no jab. Screw that. It's incredible. It's absolutely correct. Are the Dems wanting to lose? Oh yeah, this is a good one. I could maybe because his parents, his mom died, that he won't. But I'm sure he'll jump back out. Somebody's like, we can only imagine what RFK Jr. is going to say about this. At this point, condolences have happened, and Ethel Kennedy has been put to rest. RFK Jr. needs to fly out to California tomorrow. They need to hammer this. Oh my goodness! I just let every Californian know. If you haven't been to the polls yet, we can stop this shit. We can stop it now. We can nip it in the bud. You may have to suffer between now and, January, but let's go ahead. Let's show them overwhelmingly we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. You can wear it if you want, but that's it. Do not comply. Yeah, don't comply. You got to say no. Somebody says, watch out for Massachusetts. Governor of Massachusetts, the witch. She loves money, giving Cali a run for a shorty state title. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. At this point, Trump needs to run with it. Newsom already did the no voter ID. I mean, he's just doing whatever he wants out there. He's got his little kingdom. And as long as people keep voting, actually, you probably can't vote him out at this point. You voted him in, you let him do what he wants, and now he's, no voter ID. He runs that place. He may change the law, say I'm never leaving. You guys have been focusing on Trump being the guy. He may never. This guy may never leave. All right, before I get out of here, I do want to go over something else with you. Okay, so it was something I haven't heard Trump mention yet. And Trump mentioned something called a law from 1798 is something that he would put in to help against these newcomers. So I want to show you this law from 1798, and it's pretty brilliant what he's saying here. All right, so let me just bring this up. It's called the Aliens Enemy Act of 1798. Never heard of it? Because I wasn't around in 1798. You probably haven't heard of it. The Aliens Enemy Act of 1798 is a law that gave the president the power to detain or deport non-citizens from enemy nations during wartime. The law was part of a set of 4 laws known as the Alien and Sedition Act, which were passed by the Federalist-controlled Congress in 1798. The acts were a response to an undeclared war with France known as the Quasi-War, and the Federalists feared that aliens would support the French. You're probably saying to yourself, well, Barry, this is talking about when you're at war with a country. The law gives the president the power to deport from enemy nations during that wartime. Okay, so if he can only use it against countries that we're at war with, and not just any time he wants, is Trump telegraphing something? Is Trump saying, hey, Venezuela, you shipping all these people over here and shoving them down our throat is an act of war? Hey, Nicaragua, hey, this country, hey, that country, you shipping these people over here is an act of war. China, you ship these people over here, it's an act of war. I'm not doing any supposition. I am not a historian. However, I can read. And as I read here, he mentioned it today. The Aliens Enemies Act of 1798 is what he will use to get these people out of here. The trigger on this is that you can only do it if you're at war with the other country. So that leads me to believe when Trump gets in, he's about to let these other countries know this. Either you take these people back or we declare war on you. And I'm like, well, Barry, only Congress can declare war. No. Okay, that's where the difference here. Let me just bring this up further so you guys can see it. The Alien Enemies Act gives the president the power to arrest, relocate, or deport any male over the age of 14 from a foreign enemy country, target non-citizens without a hearing, base actions on country of birth or citizenship alone. And this is the key. The Alien Enemies Act remains in effect today. They never repealed it from 200-something years ago. As Chapter 3, Section 2124 of the Title 50 of the United States Code, it has been invoked multiple times, including by James Madison during the War of 1812 and President Woodrow Wilson during World War I. The Alien Act has been criticized for being overly broad and potentially violating constitutional rights. Hold on to that. It has also been used against immigrants who have done nothing wrong or shown no signs of disloyalty. So he's got precedent. So here's what's going to happen if he gets in, when he gets in and decides to use this law. He is going to declare, y'all got to go under the Aliens Act of 1798. And all the people from Congress and everybody else are going to sue the pants off of him. And they're going to take it to court and they're going to try and do whatever they can do to make sure that doesn't happen. Except the only way that you wouldn't have that applied based on how it's written is if it was unconstitutional. Guess what? It's still on the it's been on the books for 200 years, and I'm pretty sure that the people coming in here who broke the law to get here. See, this is where it's going to get real sticky for the Democrats. These aren't people that we brought in through the front door. And no, they came across the border. They came, even whatever they did, however they got here. Once you crossed that border, you broke the law and committed a crime. That constitutionality stuff, you're not an American. You broke the law. Right now, whether or not he wants to use it, he just shot a cannon into the Democrat Party. They are going to absolutely wig. They're going to scream bloody murder. It'll be on the news today. Oh my God, Trump's going to use some archaic law from 1798 to deport everybody. Okay, I'm sorry about your feelings. I'm sorry you upset, but it's still a law. Y'all didn't repeal it. It's been sitting there since 1798 and you didn't do your job. At any time, Congress could have got together and said, we're going to repeal the Aliens Act of 1798. We think it's too broad. Oops, my bad, you didn't. Now I get to use it. Sue me all you want. Supreme Court has already upheld the constitutionality of the president using laws that are on the books. They're in big trouble. Stop the freebies and they will leave. Trump is, yeah, exactly. An invasion. We are at war. He's going to use all of that. He's going to say these people came in from other countries. Where are they getting the weapons? How are they getting the weapons? How are they getting across here? Hey, are they bringing in fentanyl? Are they doing this? Are they trafficking kids? That's a war. That's going to qualify. So expect this to be a huge problem for the Democrats. And now they've got literally a couple weeks to respond to it. I mean, it's October 11th right now. We vote in a couple weeks or elect him in a couple weeks. And now you're going to... He just took all of the focus off of Kamala because she can't even fight it. And now the news is going to come after him, which is what most people want. Remember, he knows the polls. Almost 60% of Americans support mass deportation. And he's changing it now from mass deportation to basically enforcing a law. They're screwed. And then you couple that with what Gavin Newsom did. I cannot believe he reinstituted the mask mandate. I just want, it's comical at this point. The Democrats seem to be flailing so bad that they I don't even know who they represent at this point. At this point, it just seems like they're floundering, whatever the word is. I mean, it's crazy. So don't forget tonight at 8 o'clock. Actually, I think I go on at 7:30, but we're going to be doing the Reno rally. And right now, I just want to go ahead and read off the super chats, which I love to do. Okay, let me just go ahead get that to the top. All right, everybody. If you don't want to stick around, that's fine, but I am going to say thank you to everybody. Just another knucklehead. Thank you again, brothers. Thank you very much. Lisa Abad, thank you. Marcus Anderson, brother, thank you. Trump or DEI? Deborah Kirby, thank you. Thomas Armento, just want to shout out to my Colorado people in chat. Paul Grob, thank you. He must follow the hat sales. David Taylor, thank you. And it looks like it's a Eurodollar. Thank you very much. Shoshin Girl, holy moly, mother of Milk's goat. Sandra Smith, Barry, thank you for doing your show with Colorado Rally. My boyfriend and I love your show, Colorado for Trump. Hope and pray Colorado goes red. Come on back for the 8 o'clock. We're going to do Reno. Lloyd B., let's keep getting the truth out there. You rock. Tonight, my pre-show will be about the black vote. Got a lot of stuff to talk to you about the black vote. Linda Scala, thank you. I've lived in Colorado my whole life, and I work in Aurora. Thank you very much, President Trump, for caring. We love you from Colorado. Dylan Scala, my friend and Colorado natives are pissed at what this state has become. We want Trump. Thank you for all you do, Barry. Thank you. Tricia Gaynor, thank you very much. Hart Say 84, Colorado was primarily Republican from 1920 to 2004. And I guess some of the people from California came over and decided they were going to conquer Colorado. Sherry Lovesey, thank you. And I hope this mask mandate puts it over the edge. Suzanne McCauley, thank you. Tanya Felder, check out the doc called Rocky Mountain Heist. Will do. Lone Wolf, thank you so much, Barry. God bless you and yours. God bless all of U.S. and God bless Trump and his family. Got to keep this man safe. Big Cat again, thank you. God bless you guys. MAGA PJH from Canada, I believe. Thank you. Big Cat again. Now starting a new thing, Gorilla MAGA. DJ, thank you. Mountain Goddess just got here. Did you cover the terrorists that got caught planning an attack on election day a couple of days ago? Again, that supports that 1798 Act as well. An Afghan terrorist? Yeah, that's the very words. Thomas Johnson, Trump has us in the bag as long as we all vote. Thank you for your time and effort. Thank you very much for watching. Lucas Green, Kamala wore the same earrings she wore at the debate when she was on The View talking. I asked my wife that. I said, you got your favorite pair of earrings? She goes, yeah. And most women have their favorite pair of earrings. And so, you know, I'm not going to convict her on that. I don't know if they're transmitting. I don't know. But maybe she thinks those are her lucky earrings. I can't tell. Dylan Scala, family friend here in Denver, got in a car accident with a newcomer, and the police let him go. Charles Sweeney, thank you. White Kajila, I don't agree with everything Trump does, but I believe everything he says. Okay. Eric Schweitzer, thank you. They are trying their hardest to take him out, but I think the Lord has his hands in this election, and if he does, no one and no thing can get in his way. I don't want to jinx anything. I do believe what you said is true. I think God is watching out for Trump. But at this point, I don't think they could do it. We're 20 days out. If you were to take another shot at this guy, I think they could literally put in a Muppet in the Republicans and they would win in a landslide. Steve Harmon, Barry, I'm glad I decided to follow you. You're the person I turn to for all my news because I like the truth. Thank you very much. Ernest Walker, when is Trump coming to California? Tomorrow. And if you go to his website, donaldjtrump.com, and go on events, maybe there's still some tickets. Aurora sold out. Alfred Ripa and the federal government sat on their hands and did nothing. Nope, nothing. Soraya Navmar, thank you. Patty Hohen, thank you. Alfred Rip again, thank you. I think it could indeed be a red wave. Tracy Salinas, thank you. D. Marie Green, thank you very much. Judy Grimsley, make Colorado great again. I would love, man, Kamala's got to be reeling at this point. Scuba Diva, want to make Trump look bad? Listen to him out of context. Want to make Kamala look bad? Listen to her in context. I didn't know where you were going with that. I'm like, okay, I like that. Chris, Redcoats for Trump on the 5th November. We will have a new hero. Absolutely. Thank you from the UK. George Barnes, God bless you. Barry, Robin, Ashley, and the rest of the crew. And those crew members, SV and Tommy and Roaring Rage, they do a great job out there. Thank you. Bob Crimeans, I was assaulted and robbed from my car a year ago by a Somalian. Nothing became of it. Hey, Chris, Agenda 47, Drain the Swamp, Alfred again, Trump 2024, Vance 2028. Joy Kirkland, thank you. Alfred Ripa again, back to the mail-in voting. Yeah. Kevin Bond, BU, I think he's talking about the copyright explanation. And then Danny or Mary Lou, thanks for all you do. We live in California. Pray for us. Oh yeah, I will keep California in our prayers because of the insanity. I cannot believe they're even considering putting a mask mandate. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in today. That was basically a 3-hour show with the rally and everything else. It's 5:28. We'll see you in about 2 hours as we go down the road to Reno. Thanks for watching.